welcome you into the Ken Sparks Show, taking you back through a Carson-Newman loss to Wingate 33-24. The Eagles fall on Thursday night to the Wingate Bulldogs. I'm Adam Cavalier, the voice of the Eagles, alongside Carson-Newman's head coach Ken Sparks. Coach Sparks, a loss that I think you can fairly term as heartbreaking. You have it on the goal line, 4th and 1. You elect to go for it, and Wingate makes the stop with the Eagles down 2. Take me through the thought process, the decision to go for it on 4th and goal late in the 4th quarter, down 2, instead of kicking a field goal.
Well, hindsight-wise, I wasn't using my brain at all. You know, very, very poor decision. In my coaching career, learned the hard way in the early '80s. Got beat 2-0 on a safety, and went for it on 4th and 1 on the goal line when, you know, hindsight-wise, should have kicked the field goal, or at least attempted the field goal. It was a terrible win. But since then, you know, I've always said anytime you have a decision to make about taking the lead, you take the lead. If that means 3 points, you take the lead. You know, of course, 6 points would have taken the lead too and put us in a little bit more comfortable position. But should have kicked the field goal. Of course, you know, I think what led into that a little bit was I thought the play before we scored, I thought Andy Hibbett had scored. They placed it back about a half a yard, and at the worst it could have been would have been, you know, a couple inches from the goal line, at least the way the video looks and the way it looked from the sideline. And so then we jump on the ball and we call a play, an off-tackle play. And the second mistake I made was that, you know, on short yardage, you don't take the ball away from the line of scrimmage. You keep it on the line of scrimmage as close as you can. Quarterback sneak probably would not have been a good call because they stacked it, and they put 11 people at the line of scrimmage. And so it was one of those every man deal where they didn't care whether you threw it or what. You know, they wanted to, they were gambling. And so the second thing was play selection, and we had timeouts. Maybe if, you know, when I saw how they stacked, you know, I should have, I don't think he could have heard me, and, you know, and he saw we was running right into the play. He could have called timeout, and none of those things happened, and that's my fault. And so I cost us the ball game, or at least at that stage of the game. You don't know what happened, what would have happened after that, but at that stage of the game, I cost us taking a lead in a ball game that we need to have a lead in.
We'll talk about how Carson-Newman moves on from the loss to Wingate when we return after this on the Ken Sparks Show. Back on the Ken Sparks Show, a tough loss. Carson-Newman falls to Wingate 33-24. And Coach Sparks, you look at a loss like this, how do you use this to teach faith, to teach kids about getting better and fighting with them themselves?
Well, life is not peaches and cream pie in the sky. There's going to be some mistakes. All of us make mistakes. We're all capable of, because we're covered with an earth suit called flesh, that you know, we're all capable of blowing it, you know. And in this ball game, when anybody graded perfect, you know, not everybody got their job done every time. And the interesting thing about football is when 11 people do what they're supposed to do, it's pretty impressive. But when only 10 do it, a lot of times that will stop the whole deal. And it's like marriage, you know. If two people don't absolutely give all that they've got to each other, then it's probably going to be some mistakes, some limitations. And so it's, you know, you have to learn from it. You know, you got two choices. You take it, you internalize it and take it within yourself, and you think that you're the answer for it, or you say, Lord, I want you to internalize it with me internally, you know, in my heart, so that I can learn and grow from this and develop myself so I'm more usable in your hands. And And you know, sometimes it takes defeats, mistakes, for us to get humble enough for the Lord to be able to use us. And so you got to answer the next round. You can't just lay down on the mat and say, you know, I got beat this round, I can't go another one. You got to get up and go again. And the only bad thing out of it is if you didn't get off the mat and go fight some more, and or if you just like we asked these kids to do, you know, forget about that one, let's go to the next one. And that's what, you know, I got to convince myself right now, and we all got to do that within ourselves. But we got to go to the next one.
You still do some things very well, Coach, in the first half. At one point, you're out possessing Wingate, 19 minutes to 4 minutes. What enabled you to control the ball so well and take a 24-20 lead into the locker room?
Well, we were playing pretty good football first half. Defense was getting off the field, and the offense was sustaining drives. We had some penalties, but we had overcome some penalties. Second half we didn't overcome penalties, but first half we did. It made all the difference in the world. If you watch our game, first half, second half, look at the difference of the pad level between how we played the first half and second half, and offensively especially. And you know, first half we had 300 plus yards, in the second half we had 100 yards. And so couldn't ask for much better offensive execution in the first half. We was mixing the throw in pretty well and getting some things executed that was pretty good.
Carson-Newman ahead at the break, 24-20, and we take a look at the first half highlights.
The split back veer, Haywood's under center for this 1st and 10 from the far hash at the 21. Line comes set, Haywood takes the snap and fumbles it. Haywood lost it. And immediately jumping on it is Wingate's Justin Davis. Pistol formation, Allen Way with Lantigua behind him, delayed handoff, draw up the middle. Lantigua darting his way down the middle of the field. He'll score. Touchdown, Wingate. Nestor Lantigua with his 2nd touchdown of the season. He takes it in from 19 yards out, and Wingate has a 6-0 lead 25 seconds into the game. Haywood under center with Baker on the right. Dewana on the left. Haywood keeps it left side. Haywood lowers the shoulder. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. Haywood gets into the end zone around the left side from 5 yards out and went barreling his way across the line, taking out Warren Brown as he went. Left, 2 wideouts to the wide side right, and a lone man to the short side left. Haywood on a waggle left, looking to throw, dodges a man in the backfield, steps up, unleashes one deep down the near sideline. Complete in Wingate territory at the 35. Luther Walker catches it in step. Haywood under center in the split back veer. Douglas on the left and Hibbett on the right, and a wide out each direction. Snap goes to Haywood. He'll keep it on a keeper up the middle. Haywood ping-ponging off defenders at the 10 and 5. Haywood spins right. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. Brandon Haywood with his 2nd score of the day. 2nd and goal from the 5. Eagles in the split back veer. Haywood under center. Douglas on the left and Baker on the right. Handoff goes to Douglas right side. Douglas barrels over a Wingate defender and falls into the end zone. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. Robbie surveys the defensive front, takes the snap, fakes the handoff to Lantigua, and throws over the middle of the field to a wide open Bowden at the 40. Bowden in a foot race. He'll take it down the near sideline across the numbers. The Bulldogs have a defensive lineman in at fullback. It's Dylan Tucker off to the right side. Handoff goes to Lantigua. Lantigua right up the heart of the line. He scores. Touchdown, Wingate. Lantigua bursts in.
Carson-Newman with the lead headed into the locker room, 24-20 over Wingate's Bulldogs on Thursday night. Adam Cavalier alongside Carson-Newman, head football coach Ken Sparks on the Ken Sparks Show. And Coach, a lot of we continue to talk about it. A lot of positives in the first half. You're forcing 3 and outs. You get a couple of players back from injury. Terrell Emanuel, Oliver Davis see some reps in their first game back this season. What did you see out of them as you start to get some depth back on the defensive side of the football?
Well, you know, they were rusty, of course. They've missed a lot of work, but just to have their presence is very important to us. Both of them are great kids. Oliver has a way of rallying the troops, and so, you know, I think they both have played in big ball games before. Oliver has been a 2-year starter, so all the difference in the world to have people like that in a ball game, because we don't have too many 2-year starters walking around right now on our team. So it was very good.
Brandon Haywood got the running game going as well. His 21-yard touchdown run over the right side looked more like he was a 250-pound fullback as opposed to a 185-pound quarterback. What mental toughness, physical toughness was on display for him?
Well, we had a lot of good plays. Brandon had a lot of good plays. Brandon would also tell you he had a lot of bad plays. And but you know, it was the whole team functioned at times best we have all year. And then we would pick times when we would be back to our self-destructive selves, and that's not good, you know. And that's what gets you beat. You got to be consistent enough to get them done so that you got a chance to keep a drive alive or keep a play alive or whatever. And so we just really made a lot of mistakes. You know, defensively, the second half, the first part of it, they played pretty doggone good, and then the offense didn't help them, and so I don't know. We go in spurts. We don't have that consistent that consistency that a mature team has, and just got to keep working on it. Keep trying to figure out a way to get it done.
Carson-Newman with the lead at the half, 24-20, but the Eagles fall at the end of 4 quarters, 33-24, and we break down the second half after this on the Ken Sparks Show. Back on the Ken Sparks Show, I'm Adam Cavalier alongside the head coach of the Eagles, Ken Sparks. Carson-Newman falls to Wingate on Thursday night, 33-24. And Coach, you talked about it a little bit earlier on, but you go from 300 yards of total offense in the first half to 100 yards in the second half. What were the adjustments that Wingate made that made the second half so much more difficult?
Well, I'm not so. They made some good adjustments, and they started gambling a whole lot. They started gapping people and sending linebackers, but not anything that we haven't seen, not anything that we hadn't prepared for. We just I tell you exactly what happened. Instead of us being the attackers, we became the attacked, and that's more mental probably than it is physical. But and you got to give them credit; they did a great job with that, and we didn't. So you know, we've always said at Carson-Newman that even if we're punting the football, we're going to be the attackers, and so we're pretty fragile in our mindset, I think, about we're just still a team growing up, and we got to keep trying to grow up and mature and get better at it.
You say fragile, but nonetheless it seemed like there was a substantially better effort Thursday night than there was the week previous at Newberry.
No question. There's no comparison between this game and Newberry as far as effort, or the Lenore-Ryan game and Newberry as far as effort's concerned, but it's got to be a consistent effort, and there can't be conditions involved in it. Okay, this time I am, and next time I may not. You know, there can't be any conditions. We got to get to the point where we got an unconditional, total, sold out, lay it on the line, attack, fight until I drop attitude. You know, and that's something that comes with, if we'd had a little more success with this game, then you can build on that. Now we're back down to trying to convince some guys off of a bad experience and still off of a good experience that's a possibility.
You look at your linebacking core, and Greg Beauty, John Seitz, Jacob Coleman, your 3 leading tacklers for the game, 3 leading tacklers for the season. have they come along and accepted roles on the defense?
Well, they're improving, especially first that Greg Beauty's ever played at Carson-Newman, and then John Seitz, we've moved him from outside to Mike linebacker inside in the middle of the traffic, and it takes an adjustment to get used to all that traffic in there all at once. And we're still you can still see people come off the ball and abuse us sometimes because we're still not hand-to-hand combat like we need to be, and you got to train for that. It takes some experience for that, and we'll keep getting better at it.
Carson-Newman falls to Wingate 33-24, and we take a look at the second half highlights.
Strong side eye for the Bulldogs. Handoff goes to Covington, straight up the middle. Covington shoots his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Wingate. Give it on the right, Dewana on the left. A wide out up top and 2 to the near side. Haywood comes up throwing. Fakes the pitch, now throws over the middle of the field to Jason Brown. Jason Brown around the far hash. Brown angles his way to the near side at the 30 and 20. And Brown pushed out of bounds near the 10-yard line, deep in Wingate territory. Down at the 8-yard line, Jakeem Polk pushes him out of bounds, but the Eagles hit the big play in the split back veer. Douglas on the left, Hibbett on the right. Haywood hands off to Douglas right side, and he's caught in the backfield. Wingate holds tight at the goal line.
Carson-Newman falls to Wingate 33-24. When we return on the Ken Sparks Show, Roger Hoover puts the Eagle spotlight on Kevin Day. That's after this. This is the Ken Sparks Show. Carson-Newman falls to Wingate 33-24, but now it's time for our Eagle spotlight. And this time, Roger Hoover puts the highlights on Carson-Newman center Kevin Day.
A 4-year starter for the Eagles, senior center Kevin Day is one of only 2 NCAA Division II players named the 2012 All-State AFCA Good Works team. The honor is in recognition for his strong play and leadership for Carson-Newman, as well as his efforts in community service. Day believes this recognition is not so much about his work, but more of the service-based stewardship among the Carson-Newman family.
What Carson-Newman is definitely about, because we just won the national championship in community service among all colleges in the nation. We just got first place in that.
Despite a busy schedule with school and football, Day says that the program gives him and his teammates opportunities to serve the community.
Fortunately for me, Coach Sparks provides opportunities for us to get to do these things. So, there'll be stuff hanging in the locker room, little this or that, this is going on if you want to sign up for this, if you want to go help out at this. Like, one of the things I've done is the Luke 14 event at Manly Baptist.
Day regularly visits children's hospitals where he understands what families are going through, because he donated bone marrow to his sister when he was a senior in high school.
And so we went in, we did the transplant the day before Thanksgiving in 2007. And basically they put me to sleep, thank goodness, because I got told, I never got shown it. I might have passed out on my own, but I got shown a needle about that long that they stuck into my hip right here, and they just take it out. It's really interesting. And then they showed it to me, and it just looks like dark blood. It was in a monstrous bag. So they took it out as however much they needed. They would go through the same entry point, just at different angles, and pull it out. And they had it in this very, very large bag. And then, interestingly enough, they just put in an IV, and it goes into her. It went into my sister's veins, I guess, and just knew where to go. Which is incredibly interesting. Yeah. It's amazing how God created us for that to happen. It just goes in, and it does its own thing. Mm-hmm.
Next time in watching the Eagles, be sure to notice the good deeds of center Kevin Day, Carson-Newman's second straight Good Works team member. For the Ken Sparks Show, I'm Roger Hoover.
Well, thank you very much, Roger. And Coach, you think about a kid like Kevin Day, just truly, he's a good football player, probably a better person.
Well, he's a joy, I tell you what he is. He's a joy to be around. It's always great to see a person like Kevin. It gives you great hope for our future because he's a go-getter and he wants to be a difference maker. He already is a difference maker in a lot of ways. And so excited about being around Kevin Day because of his influence on me, if nothing else. But he has a tremendous influence on his football team, and he is a special young'un. it's been fun to watch him grow, and it's fun to watch him grow right now because he's having to deal with some things, and all at once the future is a little bit closer than we like to think of our future sometimes, and so he's having to deal with that.
Turn around 3 times and it's time to walk down the aisle and get your diploma.
Right.
He's done great things for his sister. He will do great things as a teacher. What do you have with a kid like that who loves God and is very good at what he does?
Well, he's a giver, and you know, in this life there's givers and there's takers, and takers don't make much difference in anybody else's life, and givers do, and Kevin has learned how to do that, and wants to do that, and is motivated to do that, and can't wait to see what the Lord's going to do with Kevin Day.
You turn your attention from Wingate on the road at Catawba on October 6th. The Indians, a staunch defense. Only 43 yards given up on the ground a game. One of the top 6 nationally, leading the conference in that. They've only allowed 1 rushing touchdown. How do you get the trademark Carson-Newman ground game going against Catawba?
Well, hopefully we can do what we did the first half and not the second half of this ball game. But Catawba is a good football team. You look at their personnel; it jumps out at you, the talent that they have on defense. And so, and last year we caught them in kind of a downtime, you know, and beat them pretty good here. And so I'm sure that they, all the motivation in the world, especially to find a Carson-Newman team that's limping right now a little bit, they'll be excited about jumping on a Carson-Newman. Who
stands out for you for them?
Well, their whole defensive front 7 is pretty exceptional. I don't see a weakness in their front 7, and of course they've got a receiver that is exceptional. They've got 2 receivers that are exceptional. They'll always have a big old ugly tight end that is bigger than everybody else, and that's no exception. They've got really a talented tight end that can do it. So haven't dug deeply into it yet, except to know that they're an experienced football team with a lot of returners back, and will give us a fit.
Coach Sparks, always a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Carson-Newman head football coach Ken Sparks. I'm the voice of the Eagles, Adam Cavalier. This has been the Ken Sparks Show.